Very good morning, everyone. In today's class, we are going to talk about fundamentals of management and managerial economics. So, before we begin today's class, I want to ask you one important question. Why do we study all these management and economic concepts like planning, communication, decision making, inflation, or ethics? And the answer is very simple, because these topics are not just theory, they are practical life skills used every day in organization, businesses, and even our personal decision. Whether you work in your company or run your own business or manage a team, you need to know how to plan, organize, take decisions, communicate effectively, handle money, and act ethically. That's why learning these topics help us to become better leaders, professional, and decision maker. So today let's explore each topic in detail and understand what it means and why it's important and where it used practically. Okay, so let's start with the first topic, management concept, its process, theories, and approaches. So basically, management means getting things done through others efficiently and effectively. It involves planning, organizing, leading, and controlling resources to achieve goals. Okay, for example, a manager in a cosmetic company plan production, organizes staff, motivates them, and also ensures sales target are they met on time or not. If we talk about the process of management, it includes the five steps. First, we have planning, organizing, staffing, leading, controlling. Okay, so let's understand each one by one. So basically, in case of planning, we focus on setting objectives, and in case of organizing, we basically focus on arranging people and work. In case of staffing, we basically focus on recruiting and training. In case of leading, we basically focus on motivating and guiding. And in case of controlling, we basically focus on checking performance. Next topic, we have major theories. So we have three type of theories. First theory we have classical, second theory we have behavioral, and third theory we have contingency theory. So basically, classical theory is given by the F.W. Taylor, and this theory focus on efficiency and structure. And if we talk about the behavioral theory, this theory is given by Alton Mayo, and this theory is focused on motivation and human relations. Third theory we have contingency theory. It is given by the Chester Fiedler, and this theory is basically focused on organization as open system, and it is totally depend on situation. So these are the three theories. So let's understand why we study these theories, because management gives the direction and order to work. Without it, efforts are wasted. Without management, nothing work in practically. So let's see the practical use of management. So basically, it used daily by the manager in every organization, schools, hospitals, industries, to coordinate work and achieve results. Second topic we have functions of management. Okay, so we have five functions. First, we have planning, organizing, staffing, coordinating, and controlling. So let's understand these five functions in detail one by one. So in case of planning, that means deciding future course of action For example, setting marketing target. In case of organizing, that means arranging resources, for example, creating departments. Third function we have staffing. Staffing, that means hiring and developing people, for example, recruiting employees. And last function we have controlling, which means evaluating performance of employees on regular basis, for example, comparing actual versus planned sales. Okay, so let's understand this, why we need to study the functions of management, because these are daily tasks every manager performs, and this is very useful in organization. So let's see the practical use of functions of management. So basically it is used by all level of management to ensure that work runs smoothly and goals are met efficiently. Okay, so third topic we have communication. Communication types, process and barriers. So let's understand the meaning of communication. So basically communication is the transfer of information and understanding from one person to another. Okay, next we have types of communication. First type we have verbal communication, second we have non-verbal communication, third we have written communication, fourth we have formal communication, and fifth we have informal communication. Okay, so let's understand these five type of communication with the help of example. In case of verbal, the example of verbal communication is speaking and meeting, and in case of non-verbal communication, gestures, facial expressions, these are the examples of non-verbal communications. Emails, reports, these are the example of written communication. Official messages, these are the examples of formal communication. Friendly talks, these are the example of informal communication. Now let's understand the process of communication. So in case of process of communication, it include the sender, message, channel, receiver, feedback, and again it's sender. Okay, so basically sender send the message through the channel, and receiver receive the message and encode that particular message. After getting the message and decoding the message, receiver give the feedback to the sender. Okay, next we have barriers in communication. First barrier is noise, poor language, emotional disturbance, lack of feedback. This can be the barrier in communication. So why we need to study the communication barrier? So because communication is the heart of management. No work can happen without it. Okay, so let's understand the practical use of communication. So basically communication used in meetings, instructions, negotiation and team discussions. Okay, so next topic we have decision making, its concept, process, techniques and tools. So first of all, let's understand the meaning of decision making. So basically decision making means choosing the best alternative among several options. Okay, and let's understand the process of decision making. So in the first step we have to identify the problem. After that we have to collect the information as well as generate alternatives. After generating the alternatives, we have to evaluate the alternative and choose the best alternative. After that implement and review the alternative. Okay, so this is the process of decision making. After that we are going to study the technique and tools of decision making. So basically cost benefit analysis, brainstorming, decision tree, SWOT analysis, These are the techniques and tools of decision making. So why we need to study the decision making? Because every manager's success depend on the quality of decisions they make. And if we talk about the practical use of the decision making, it is basically used in selecting products, hiring employees, fixing budget, and formulating policies. Okay, next topic we have organization, structure, and design. So, first of all, let's understand the meaning of organization structure and design. So, basically, it defines how tasks are divided, authority is shared, and coordination is achieved. Okay, next we have types of organization structure and design. Okay, so first type we have line structure, second we have functional structure, matrix structure, and divisional structure. In case of line structure, we talk about the direct authority. For example, police, army, these are the example of line structure. Next we have functional structure. It is basically based on specialization, like like HR, finance, marketing, and other departments like sales. Next structure we have matrix structure. So basically it is a dual authority, for example project based companies. Next we have divisional structure. It is based on product like HUL and P&G. Okay, so these are the types of organization structure and design. After that we have key elements, okay, which include authority, responsibility, centralization, decentralization, span of control. So if we talk about the authority, that means right to give orders, and if we talk about the responsibility, that means duty to perform. After that we have centralization, that means power at top, and if we talk about the decentralization, that means power is shared. Okay, after that we have span of control, that means number of subordinates per manager. So why we need to study these key elements? Okay, so basically it helps to design an organization that work efficiently and clearly defined roles, so that number of employees contribute in the organization more and more. So let's understand the practical use of this concept. It is basically used when creating departments or restructuring organization. Okay, so next topic we have managerial economics concept and importance. So let's understand the concept of managerial economics. So basically it is the application of economic theories to business decisions, and it is the importance of managerial economics. It helps in pricing and production. Apart from that, adds in profit maximization, as well as it improves decision making and guides policy formulation. So why we need to study managerial economics? So basically it bridges the gap between theory of economics and practice of management. If we talk about the practical use of managerial economics, it is used in budgeting, forecasting, cost control, and project evaluation. Next topic we have demand analysis. So basically, if you talk about the concept that included under the demand analysis, first concept we have utility analysis. In the utility analysis, we talk about the satisfaction from consumption. And second, we have indifference curve, where we basically talk about equal satisfaction combinations. Third concept, we have elasticity, where we talk about how demand changes with price or income. And last concept we have forecasting, that means predicting future demand. Okay, so why we need to study the demand analysis? So basically to make smart production and pricing decisions, so that's why we need to understand the demand analysis. If we talk about the practical use of demand analysis, so in companies like L'Oreal forecast demand for product before launching new items. Okay, next topic we have market structure. Okay, so in the market structure there are different types. First we have perfect competition, second we have monopoly, third we have monopolistic structure, and monopolistic structure. After that we have oligopoly. So let's understand each one by one. And these types of market structure are very very important for exam point of view. If we talk about the perfect competition, where many sellers and buyers, for example agriculture. Next we have monopoly where only one seller is there, for example railways. And if we talk about the monopolistic competition, where differentiated products, this is the feature of monopolistic competition. For example, cosmetic, clothes, these comes under the monopolistic competition. Next we have oligopoly structure. So basically we talk about the feature of oligopoly. It have few big firms. For example, telecom, automobiles. So why we study the market structure and types of market structure? So it helps the manager to understand pricing, competition, and consumer behavior. If we see the practical use of market structure, so basically it is used in setting prices and designing marketing strategies. After that we have next topic, national income, its concept, types, and measurement. So basically national income is equal to total value of goods and services produced by a nation. Next we have types of national income, which include GDP, GNP, NDP, per capita income. Okay, so these are the types of national income. After that we have different method of measuring the national income. First method we have product method, and after that we have income method, and third we have expenditure method. So why we need to study the national income? So basically it shows the economic health of the country, so that's why we need to understand these national income and its concept, its types, and how we measure the national income. Okay, so let's see the practical use of national income. So it is basically used by the government and businesses for policy and investment planning. Okay, and last topic we have inflation, concept, types, and measurement. So if we talk about the concept of inflation, so basically it continues rise in prices. And types of inflation we have demand pull and cost push, creeping, hyperinflation. And if we talk about the measurement of inflation, we have CPI that means consumer price index, and WPI that means wholesale price index. And why we study this concept inflation? Because it affect cost of living, wages, and investment. If we talk about the practical use of inflation, it is used by RBI for monetary policy and by businesses to adjust pricing. After that we have business ethics and CSR. So if we talk about the business ethics, that means Moral values guiding business conduct like honesty, fairness, respect. These comes under the business ethics. Next we have CSR. CSR, that means corporate social responsibilities, where companies duty towards society. If they earn a lot of profit, then it's the responsibility of the manager, businessman. They contribute at least some part of their profit to the society for the well-being of the society. For example, Tata Group invest in education, health, and rural project. These contributing this company basically contribute for the welfare of the society, and it is the responsibility of the companies to invest money in in the society for the welfare of society. So why we need to study the business ethics and CSR, that means corporate social responsibility. So basically ethical conduct build trust and brand reputation. And if we talk about the practical use of business ethics and CSR, it is used in marketing, HR, and decision making to ensure fairness and sustainability. And after that we have next topic, ethical issues and dilemma. Okay, if we talk about the ethical issues, bribery, discrimination, environmental damage, false advertising, these are comes under the ethical issues. And if we talk about the dilemma, a situation where both choices may seem right or wrong. For example, firing an employee for poor performance versus helping them improve. So why we study the ethical issues and dilemma? Because it help manager to make moral decision even under pressure. So let's understand the practical use of ethical issues and dilemma. So basically it is used by the leaders and HR professional in day-to-day judgment. Next topic we have corporate governance, that meaning to ensure that companies are transparent, fair, and accountable. And if we talk about the principles of corporate governance, which include the fairness, accountability, transparency, responsibility. So why we study corporate governance? So it prevents the corruption and improves the stakeholder confidence. If we talk about the practical use of corporate governance, it is used in broad meeting, audit, and corporate policies. Okay, next we have value based organization. So basically, an organization that operates based on core human values like honesty, trust, compassion. And if we talk about the feature of value based organization, like ethical leadership and employee empowerment, sustainable success, these are the features of value based organization. So why we need to study the value based organization? Because values create a positive and trustworthy work culture. So that's why we need to study this one. If we talk about the practical use of value based organization, it is used in building long term employee commitment and public goodwill. Okay, so come to the conclusion part. So students, the reason we study all these topics is to become effective and ethical managers, and these concepts from management and communication to ethics and economics are the real tool that guide decision making in every successful organization. When you enter your professional life after completing your degree, you will use these lessons on regular basis while managing team, planning budget, and resolving conflict. So at the end I want to say management is not just a theory. Okay, it's the art of applying knowledge to real life. So that is all about for the today's class. Thank you so much. Bye bye, take care, keep learning, keep growing.